Hello everyone. Today is August 25th, 2018, and I want to tell you about a dream I had last night. The first part of the dream was very strange. There was an enemy closing in on everyone, a diabolical enemy. And no matter what church you were in, you were fighting with everyone inside your church, inside your religious community. Everyone was fighting with everyone and arguing, and it was just, and everything was black as black could be. It was like it was really dark. You could hardly see anyone. And then the second part of the dream, I was in a field and there were tents all over the field. And then there were men dressed in military field uniforms. They weren't the ones that we have in modern times. They looked more like the uniforms, the helmets, and everything that they wore during World War II. And the men started coming out of the tents that they were in. There were tents all over the place. And they were all dressed for battle. But they didn't carry any weapons. And then whoever's their leader would start singing a praise to God, some kind of praises to God and rejoicing. They would sing the verse, and then all the men across all the field in all their tents would start singing the chorus of whatever song. I couldn't quite make out what song it was they were singing. All I knew is that it was like a praise to God kind of song. And so each of the military leaders would take turns. One would sing the verse and everybody would sing the chorus, and the song kept changing. It was really beautiful. And then suddenly overhead there were these missiles flying over their head, and it was like beautiful missiles, really beautiful. They were like made of crystal and sapphire and silver and precious gems, and they were long and sleek, and they went really fast. It was just like shoo shoo shoo, and they made this sound like buzzing or singing or ringing. And I got the impression that these missiles were flying towards the enemy to defend the people of God against the enemies that had rallied against Christians. And so then and they just kept singing, and it was really funny because some of these men were not like real well behaved. Some of them were a bit coarse, a bit rough language, but they still all united for this praise to God and prayers and praise. And anyway, that was the end of the dream. And when I woke up from this dream, I thought of a hymn immediately after I woke up, an old hymn. It's called "Rise Up, O Men of God, Have Done with Lesser Things." And I think that kind of expresses what this dream means. It means that men of God should rise up and pray together and praise together, praise God together. This is not just men praying together in one church. It means they all have to come together in all the churches, even the ones you don't like, or even the ones you think are not really Christian. You don't want to be like the Pharisee in the parable who stands at the middle of in the top of the church and says, "I thank God that I am not like this man." You want to be able to reach out and come together, because this unity will create such a spiritual warfare that the enemy will be defeated. And I think that's what this dream means. And even though I saw a few women dressed for battle on that field, but they really weren't doing much, because I believe that the prayers of spiritual warfare are more appropriate to the man. Men are much better at spiritual warfare than women. And so I just think that this is what this dream means, that men need to pray together, not just in one church, but in all the churches together, and pray to God and praise God and rejoice in God. And these prayers will overcome the enemy. That's what I think this dream means. Now, you may have another interpretation of it. All I know is that God prompted me to tell this dream, and so I have.